In what can only be described as a match that transcended the typical bounds of professional wrestling and instead became a deeply personal war rooted in legacy, pride, and generational identity, Zilla Fatu entered the arena for his second reality of wrestling championship defense under a spotlight far brighter than most young athletes ever face, not just because he holds the title, but because he carries a name that echoes through decades of wrestling history, tied to some of the most dominant and respected names the industry has ever seen. Across from him stood Hoka, known as the Tongan troublemaker, a powerful and dangerous competitor who, despite not having the same lineage or limelight, came into this match with a mission larger than himself, to prove that strength, identity, and tradition could carve just as deep into the sport's legacy as any famous last name. This wasn't just a fight for a belt. This was an ancient rivalry reignited, a symbolic collision of Polynesian pride, where centuries of cultural warrior spirit from both Samoa and Tonga were summoned inside the squared circle in front of a crowd that understood they were witnessing something far more powerful than a typical main event. The Walker, Texas Warrior Arena buzzed with a nervous electricity, the kind that only occurs when both performers enter not only as wrestlers, but as vessels of something greater than themselves. As the ring announcer made the introductions, you could feel the shift in atmosphere, the respect from the audience, the intensity in the air, and the spiritual weight that both men brought with them. Hoka, weighing in at a dominating 265 pounds, immediately showed why he's considered a serious threat, controlling the early moments of the match with raw physicality and relentless pressure, slamming Zilla into corners, grounding him with heavy grapples, and sending the message that he wasn't here to just put on a show. He was here to win. Zilla, though clearly outmuscled at moments, demonstrated the kind of mental toughness and technical intelligence that champions are made of, refusing to be intimidated, countering with bursts of speed and calculated strikes that slowly began to shift the rhythm of the match. Every move felt heavier, every moment felt loaded with meaning, not just because of what was happening in the ring, but because of the unspoken battle each man was fighting internally. Hoka, fighting for recognition, and to lift the Tongan flag high with a statement win, and Zilla, fighting not just to retain gold, but to honor the countless stories, sacrifices, and shadows that walk beside him every time he enters the ring. And as the match wore on, it became more than a contest of strength or skill. It became a metaphor for legacy itself, the struggle to carry what's come before you, the challenge of proving you're not just a product of a famous name, and the pressure of knowing that every failure or triumph is not just yours, but belongs to everyone who has invested belief in your rise. Hoka's offense remained brutal and methodical, landing a devastating Tongan drop that nearly sealed the match, resulting in a 2 count that left the crowd breathless and Zilla visibly shaken, a moment where the title nearly slipped through his fingers. Yet in that moment, as he lay on the mat, the echoes of his family's legacy, the Anoa'i bloodline, the dynasty of warriors, champions, and leaders, seemed to pull him back into the fight, fueling him with something more powerful than just adrenaline. Rising with grit in his eyes, Zilla found the opening he needed, turning defense into offense with a sudden and masterfully timed counter that not only broke Hoka's momentum, but shifted the entire tone of the match. It was a comeback not born from luck, but from years of mental and physical conditioning, from being raised in a legacy that teaches you not just how to win, but how to survive when all seems lost. With the crowd on the edge of their seats, Zilla hit a crushing finishing move that came almost out of nowhere, like a thunderclap breaking the tension, and covered for the pin. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, it was over, the main one still reigning, still defending, still writing his chapter in the story of greatness. But this match was not just a win on the record. It was a rite of passage, a spiritual and emotional test that demanded more than athleticism. It required identity, heart, and the ability to carry not only the present, but the past and future of an entire legacy. And as Zilla stood tall, belt raised, breathing heavy, eyes scanning the crowd, it became undeniably clear. He is not just a champion because of his name, or because he has a title around his waist. He's a champion because he has proven, beyond doubt, that when the moment comes, he can stand on his own, face down the weight of heritage and history, and still rise, still fight, and still win. For Hoka, though the night did not end in victory, his performance was a loud and undeniable declaration that Tonga is not just part of the conversation. It is a force, and his rise is only just beginning. But tonight belonged to Zilla Fatu, not because of what he inherited, but because of what he earned in blood, in sweat, and in spirit, under the lights of